Hello children, how are you all doing? I hope you people are safe at home and I am also safe here. Today I welcome you all to our class 8 science. Reproduction in animals. Look at this picture children. Do you recall the processes of digestion, circulation and respiration which you have studied in your previous classes? So these processes are essential for the survival of every individual children, isn't it? You have also learned about the processes of reproduction in plants also. Yes? So in this lesson, we are going to learn about the reproduction in animals. Reproduction is essential for the continuation of a species, children. Imagine what would have happened if organisms have not reproduced. You will realize that the reproduction is very important as it ensures the continuation of similar kinds of individuals, no? Generation after generation. And we have already learned in our previous classes about the reproduction in plants. Okay, so we shall learn the reproduction here in detail. Have you seen the young ones of different animals, children? Now try to name some of the young ones by completing this table 9.1 as shown in examples in serial number. Okay, so look at this first example one. Human, the young one is baby, and then hen is an example I have given in the fifth row. The young one is chick. So like this, you can fill up the rest of the columns. Okay, so you must have also seen the young ones of various animals being born. Okay, can you tell how chicks and caterpillars are born, children? How are kittens and puppies born? Do you think that these young ones looked the same before they were born as they do now? Let us find out by filling this tabular column, children. So you can fill up this tabular column and you can write it in the classwork, or if you have the textbook, you can write in the textbook itself. Okay, so just as in plants, no, there are two modes of reproduction by which animals reproduce. We will see that now. Try to recall reproduction in plants which you studied in class 7, children. So you will remember that plants reproduce sexually which have male and female reproductive parts, no? Can you name those parts, children? So what are they? They are the male and female reproductive parts, no? The male parts are known as the stamen and the female parts are known as the pistil or the carpel. Yes, the stamen in plants contain the anther and the filament. The anther contains the pollen grains, whereas the female reproductive parts are the pistil or the carpel, no? They are made of three parts, stigma, style and ovary. Similarly, in animals also, males and females have different reproductive parts. They are the organs. Okay. So like plants, the reproductive parts in animals also produce gametes and they fuse to form a zygote. So in plants, we have studied now the male reproductive parts, they produce the germ cells, and also the female part, they'll have the ovum. So they will fuse with that ovum to form a zygote. So similarly, in animals also, reproduction takes place with the fusion of male and female gametes and they will produce in the form of a zygote. So the zygote further develops into a new individual. Understood? So this type of reproduction beginning from the fusion of male and female gametes, they are known as the sexual mode of reproduction. The another one by which there is no sexual parts are involved. Okay, only the single parent is involved during the reproduction process. That process is known as the asexual reproduction. So there are two types. There are two types of reproduction. They are known as the sexual mode and the asexual mode of reproduction in animals. So let us first learn the sexual reproduction, children. In sexual reproduction, we need both the male and female gametes. Okay, so these male and female gametes, no, they will fuse with each other, undergoes fertilization process. So they further develop into zygote. So this zygote only develops into an embryo, and that embryo develops into a fetus. Then finally, you will get a full living organism. So the next topic we are going to learn are the reproductive organs. So in this lesson, we are going to concentrate in the human reproductive organs, children. So let me first teach the male reproductive organ. Okay. So the parts of the male reproductive organ, they include a pair of testes, okay, two sperm ducts and a penis. So the testis only produces the male gametes called the sperms. Understood? So you have the sperm, then penis and the testis. So millions of sperms are produced by the testis, children. Look at this picture, which shows the picture of a sperm. So those sperms are very small in size, no? Each one has a head part, a middle piece, and a tail part. Look at the human sperm I have given here. So the head part is very triangular in shape. It is the topmost part, and the middle part is known as the middle piece, and finally the sperm will have the tail region. Okay, so does it appear to be a single cell, children? So you can also each sperm, no, we can say it is a single cell with all the usual cell components. Understood, children, about the male reproductive organ? Now let us learn the female reproductive organs. So here you will have a pair of ovaries, then oviducts. They are nothing but the fallopian tubes and the uterus, children. So here the ovary produces the female gametes called the ova or the eggs. Look at this picture. I have given you the human ovum. Okay, in human beings, a single matured egg, no, is released into the oviduct by one of the ovaries each and every month. Understood? So uterus is the part where development of the baby takes place. So like the sperm, no, an egg is also a single cell. Understood? About the female reproductive part, the next process we are going to learn about the fertilization. Okay, so the first step in the process of reproduction is the fusion of sperm and an ovum. No, when sperms come in contact with an egg, one of the sperms may fuse with the egg. No, so such fusion of the egg and the sperm, that is the male and female gametes, is called the fertilization. We all know that. Then, during fertilization, what happens? The nuclei of the sperm and the egg, no, they fuse to form a single nucleus. Okay, as I told you, the egg and the sperm, they are the single cell. When these two single cells, no, they fuse with each other, their nucleus only first fuses with each other. So this only results in the formation of a zygote. Okay, the zygote is nothing but the fertilized egg, we can say. Look at this picture, zygote picture. And did you know that the zygote is the beginning of a new individual, children? Yes, it is the zygote only further develops into a new individual. Okay, so the process of fertilization is the meeting of an egg cell from the mother and a sperm cell from the father. So the new individual inherits. Okay, inherits means what? It develops some characteristics from the mother as well as some from the father. Understood? So look at your brother or sister. Okay, see if you can recognize some characters in them similar to those of your mother or your father. Understood, children, about the fertilization? The next topic we are going to learn is the two types of fertilization, children. There are two types of fertilization, namely internal fertilization and the external fertilization. If you take the internal fertilization, it takes place inside the female body. So, namely, animals including humans, cows, dogs, and hens. No, in these animals we can see the internal fertilization that which takes place inside the female body. That's about the internal fertilization, children. So you will be surprised to know that in many animals, no, fertilization takes place outside the body of the female. Okay, in these animals, fertilization takes place in water. Okay, let us find out how this happens, children. So during the spring or rainy season, the frogs and toads, no, they move to ponds and slow flowing streams. And during the rainy season, no, you would have heard the frogs noise also. So when the male and female, no, come together in water, the female lays hundreds of eggs. Okay, unlike the hen's eggs, no, the frog's egg is not covered by a shell. It is comparatively very delicate. Okay, so a layer of jelly, no, that holds the eggs together and provides protection to the eggs, children. Understood. So what happens as the eggs are laid, the male deposits sperms over them. Each sperm, no, swims randomly in water with the help of its long tail. Okay, the sperm has the head part, middle, and the tail part. No, so the sperms come in contact with the eggs. So this results in the fertilization. So this type of fertilization only in which the fusion of a male and female gametes takes place outside the body of the female is is known as the external fertilization, children. It is common in aquatic animals such as fish, starfish, and in frogs, etc. children. So once the fertilization has taken place, the zygote will be formed. Okay. So this zygote further develops into development of embryo. So this fertilization results in the formation of zygote, which begins to develop into an embryo, children. So the zygote divides rapidly to give rise to ball of cells. Okay, look at this picture. I have given the ball of cells. No, they are nothing but the zygote division. Okay, the cells then begin to form groups that develop into different tissues and the organs of the body. So this developing structure is termed as an embryo. Understood? So the embryo gets embedded in the wall of the uterus, children, for further development. Understood? So that embryo continues to develop in the uterus. Okay, so it gradually develops the body parts such as hands, legs, then head, eyes, ears, etc. Okay, so the stage of the embryo in which all the body parts can be identified is known as the fetus. Okay, now I'm going to show you the fetus in the next slide. So the stage of the embryo in which all the body parts can be identified is called the fetus. Okay, so when the development of the fetus is complete, the mother gives birth to the baby children. Understood? So this is the fetus in the uterus. Okay, so like this, internal fertilization takes place in hens also. But do hens give birth to babies like human beings and cows, children? No. And then how are chicks born, children? Let us find out that. Soon after fertilization, what happens? The zygote divides rapidly, no, and it travels down the oviduct. So as it travels down, many protective layers are formed around it. The hard shell that you see in a hen's egg, no, is one such protective layer, children. Okay. So now, after the hard shell is formed around the developing embryo, the hen finally lays the egg. Okay, so the embryo takes about 3 weeks to develop into a chick. You must have seen the hen sitting on the eggs, no, to provide sufficient warmth. So, did you know that the development of the chick takes place inside the eggshell during this period? So after the chick is completely developed, it bursts open the eggshell. Okay. So not only that, in animals which undergo the external fertilization, development of the embryo takes place outside the female body, but the embryos continue to grow within their egg coverings itself. After the embryos develop, the eggs hatch. Okay. So you must have seen numerous tadpoles swimming in the ponds and streams, isn't it? The next topic we are going to learn is the viviparous and oviparous animals, children. We have learned that some animals give birth to young ones, while some other, no, they lay eggs, which later develop into young one. The animals which give birth to young ones, they are known as the viviparous animals, and those animals which lay eggs are known as the oviparous animals, children. The next topic we are going to learn is the young ones to adults. Okay. So now the new individuals, no, which are born or hatched from the eggs, no, continue to grow till they become adults. Okay. In some animals, the young ones may look very different from the adult. Can you recall the life cycle of silkworm which you have learned in your lower class? From the egg, the larva or the caterpillar will develop, and this larva or caterpillar further develops into a pupa. This pupa will form an adult form. Yes, you studied in your class 7, no? And similarly, we are going to learn the frog here. Is another such example. Observe the different stages of frog starting from the egg to the adult stage from this picture. We find that there are three distinct stages here, isn't it? So you see the egg and you see the tadpole or the larva, and then this larva only further develops into the adult. Okay, don't the tadpoles look so different from the adults, children? Yes, can you imagine that these tadpoles would someday, become frogs? Similarly, the caterpillar or the pupa of a silkworm, looks very different from the adult moth. Okay, so the features that are present in the adult are not found in these young ones. Then what happens to the tadpoles or caterpillars thereafter, children? You must have seen a beautiful moth emerging out of the cocoon, no? In the case of tadpoles, they transform into adults capable of jumping and swimming. So the transformation of the larva into an adult through the drastic changes that is known as the metamorphosis. Understood? So can you define the metamorphosis, children? The transformation of the larva into an adult through drastic changes is known as the metamorphosis. We can also say it is the development from the egg to the adult stage. Okay. So what about the changes that we observe in our body as we grow? Do you think we too undergo metamorphosis? In human beings, the body parts similar to those present in the adults are present from the time of the birth. The next mode of reproduction is asexual reproduction, children. Here, only a single parent is involved. That is known as the asexual reproduction. We are going to learn the reproduction which takes place in very small animals like hydra and microscopic organisms like amoeba, children. So the asexual reproduction which takes place in hydra is budding. Okay, in each hydra, no, there may be one or more bulges. So these bulges, no, are the developing new individuals, children, and they are called the buds. So recall the presence of buds in yeast. Okay, in hydra too, the new individuals develop as outgrowths from the single parent children. So this type of reproduction in which only a single parent is involved is known as the asexual reproduction. So since new individuals develop from the buds in hydra, this type of sexual reproduction is called the budding in hydra. Understood? The another method of asexual reproduction is observed in the microscopic organism amoeba. Okay, let us see how this happens, children. You have already learned about the structure of amoeba, no? So you will recall that the amoeba is a single-celled organism, isn't it? So it begins the process of reproduction by the division of its nucleus into two nuclei. Look at this picture. So the parent amoeba is there, the dividing nucleus is shown and it splits into two daughter amoebae. Okay, so this is followed by the division of its body into two, each part receiving a nucleus. So finally, the two amoebae are produced from one parent amoeba, children. So this type of asexual reproduction in which the animal reproduces by dividing into two individuals is known as the binary fission. Okay, apart from the budding and binary fission, there are also other methods by which single parent reproduces the young ones. That method, no, those methods you will study about in your higher classes. So now we are going to learn the story of Dolly, the clone children. So cloning means what? It is nothing but the production of an exact copy of a cell or any other living part or a complete organism. Okay, cloning of an animal no, was successfully performed for the first time. Okay, by Wilmot and his colleagues, no, at the Roslin Institute in Edinburgh, Scotland. Okay, they cloned successfully a sheep named known as Dolly. Okay, so the dolly was were born on 5th July 1996, no, and was the first mammal to be cloned. Okay, for this, they took the cell, no, a cell was collected from the mammary gland of a female fin dorsal sheep. And similarly, an egg was obtained from a Scottish black-faced Eve children. So the nucleus was removed from the egg. Then the nucleus of the mammary gland cell, no, from the dorsal sheep was inserted into the egg of the Scottish black-faced Eve children, whose nucleus had been removed. So the egg thus produced was implanted into Scottish black-faced Eve. And the development of this egg, no, followed by normally, and finally Dolly was born children. So the Dolly was given birth by Scottish blackface Eve only. It was found to be absolutely identical to the fin Dorset sheep from which the nucleus was taken. So since the nucleus from the egg, no, of the Scottish blackface Eve was removed, the dolly did not show any character of the Scottish blackface Eve. So the dolly was a healthy clone of the Finn Dorset sheep and it produced several offspring of her own through normal sexual means. Okay. Unfortunately, the dolly died on 14th February 2003 due to a certain lung disease. So since Dolly, several attempts have been made to produce cloned mammals. However, many die before birth or die soon after birth. Okay, the cloned animals are they many a time found to be born with severe abnormalities. Children. Bye, children. You would have understood all the concepts in this lesson, reproduction in animals, children. Thank you.